Hi, good morning, beta. So now, my dear students, as we are discussing our chapter ruling the countryside, and just before in earlier two videos, we have discussed about the permanent settlement and the problems that were being faced by the permanent settlement. The Malwadi system we had discussed, we have discussed the Munro system, and we had already discussed about the indigo plantation also. And why did the indigo plantation became famous all over the worldwide? Nations were started growing the crops of indigo, and the prices of indigo were so high. And like we also discussed that why the Britishers started practicing of agriculture of sugarcane, tea, cotton and jute, indigo and sugarcane, wheat and rice in different part of our nation to meet their demands in the Europe in the 18th and in the 19th century. Okay, so now let's take our chapter ahead. Thank you. Let's come. So now we will read about why the British turns to India. Faced with the rising demands of indigo in Europe, the company in India looked for ways to expand the area under indigo cultivation. Like we know na beta, I told you in the earlier videos, indigo was grown in Bengal in a good quality amount and in a large amount also. Okay, both it fulfills the quality and quantity as well. So the British turns back to India to increase the production of indigo, as it was really famous in the European countries to make dyes, to make cotton dyes, and to give the clothes the blue shades. Okay. So, from the last decades of the 18th century, indigo cultivation in Bengal expanded rapidly, and Bengal indigo came to dominate the world market. In 1788, only about 30% of the indigo imported into Britain was from India. By 1810, the proportion had gone up to 95%. See the difference, beta. In 1788, only 30% was sent to the European countries, but in the 1810, 1810 में after 30 years, we can say after 20 years, we can say the percentage goes up to 95% of indigo from India was transported to the Britain and other European countries. Okay, so how much in this amount the indigo was famous. Okay, उसकी इतनी ज़्यादा ज़रूरत थी बेटा उस टाइम पे. So as the indigo trade grew commercially, agents and officials of the company began investing in indigo production. Over the years, many companies officials left their jobs to look after their indigo business. Attracted by the prospect of high profits, numerous Scotsmen and Englishmen came to India and became planters. Those who had no money to produce indigo could get loans from the company and the banks that were coming up at the time. So beta, it was the quality and quantity and the demand of the indigo that many great officials who were posted at a high positions in the administration system of English East India Company, they left their jobs and started practicing the agriculture of indigo. Okay, and now many Englishmen from Britain and all other European countries also shifted to India, and the people they started growing the indigo plants. Okay, by taking the lands on rent. If the people, those who don't have money to grow the indigo, they started taking loan from the private money lenders or the banks that were coming up at that particular of time on rent on high rate of interest to start the cultivation of indigo. So you can imagine how much important and essential was indigo was in the 18th and in the 19th century to make beautiful clothes, to make beautiful designs with the help of a blue color. Okay dear. So now, how was indigo cultivated? There were two main system of indigo cultivation, Nij and Roiti. Within the system of niche cultivation, the planter produced indigo in lands that he directly controlled. He either bought the land or rented it from other zamindars and produced indigo by directly employing hired laborers. Okay, so now indigo was grown into two forms like Nij and Roiti, and a Nij is a kind of cultivation where the land is directly belong to the farmer, and or the farmer can give his land on rent to other farmers to start the cultivation of indigo. Okay. Now see this picture. Okay, this is a picture of a war. Now I shall tell you. Figure 7, the slave revolt in Saint Domingue, August in 1791, painting by January Sucho do Liski. In the 18th century, French planters produced indigo and sugar in the French colony of Saint Domingue in the Caribbean island. The African slaves who worked on the plantation rose in rebellion in 1791, burning the plantation and killing their rich planters. In 1792, France abolished slavery in the French colonies. These events led to the collapse of indigo plantation on the Caribbean islands. Okay, so this is about Caribbean islands in the French. Okay, now shift with the problems with the niche cultivation, and a niche cultivation means indigo cultivations. Okay, now the planters found it difficult to expand the area under the niche cultivation. Indigo could be cultivated only on fertile lands, and these were already densely populated. Only small plots scattered over the landscape could be acquired. Planters needed large areas in compact blocks to cultivate indigo in plantations. Where could they get such land from? They attempted to lease in the land around the indigo factory and evict the peasants from the area, but this always led to conflicts and tensions. Now now beta, the people who came from England or other Britain or other European countries, that they had started the cultivation of the indigo here in India and left their jobs to look into the business of indigo cultivation. Like there were so much tension and disputes between the farmers and those peoples that they grow indigo. Like the people who came from abroad, they want to increase their land under the indigo cultivation, but the farmers who were Indian farmers were refused to do so. So that this always led the planters and the private peoples always in tension and in conflicts. Okay, like that in factories they want कि डैट हमारा इंडिगो ज़्यादा पैसे में बिकना चाहिए. जो इंडियंस थे वो ये कह रहे थे कि हमारा पैसा ज़्यादा हमारे फैक्ट्रीज़ में, मतलब हमारा इंडिगो ज़्यादा अच्छे से बिकना चाहिए. नॉर वाज लेबर easy to mobilize. A large plantation required a vast number of hands to operate, and labor was needed precisely at a time when peasants were usually busy with their rice cultivation. At that period of time, rice cultivation was also practiced among different provinces, so the labor was involved in the rice cultivation. So it was really hard to get labor also to produce and to work in the fields of indigo. Okay, so these were the two main problems, and let's read more. So niche cultivation on a large scale also required many plough and bullocks. On 1 biga of indigo cultivation required two ploughs. This means that a planter with thousands bigas would need 2000 ploughs. Investing on purchase and maintenance of ploughs was a big problem, nor could supplies be easily got from the peasants since their ploughs and bullocks were busy on their rich fields. Again, exactly at the same time that the indigo planters needed them. Okay, till the late 19th century, the planters were therefore reluctant to expand the area under niche cultivation. Less than 25% of the land producing indigo was under this system. The rest was under an alternative mode of cultivation, the roti system. Okay, now beta, I shall tell you what is the meaning of biga. Biga, a unit of measurement of land before the British rule. The size of this area varied. In Bengal, the British standardized it to about 1/3 of an acre. Beta, biga means it is a kind of land that is directly related to the fields. Okay, कि भाई एक खेत का कितना साइज होगा, एक फील्ड में जितने साइज बनाए जाएंगे उस साइज को क्या कहा जाता था, बीघा कहा जाता था. ओके, एंड नाउ 1 बीघा रिक्वायर्ड 2 प्लॉट्स, कि भाई मतलब
उसको खेत जोतने के लिए हल चाहिए होते थे। ओके, एंड लाइक अगर किसी के पास 1000 बीघा ज़मीन है तो उसको 2000 हल चाहिए ही चाहिए थे। ओके, एंड और फिर जो उसकी हलों की और जो हल थे उनकी जो मेंटेनेंस होती थी वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा हाई और कॉस्टली होती थी। ओके, सो नाउ and nor could supplies be easily got from the peasants since their plow and bullocks were busy on the rice field। और जिनके पास ऑलरेडी थे बुलोक्स थे और ये थे प्लोस थे, उन वो ऑलरेडी जहाँ पे चावल उगता था, जहाँ पे राइस की कल्टीवेशन होती थी बेटा, वो वहाँ पे काम करते थे। सो फिर इंडिगो प्लांटेशन के लिए इतना ज़्यादा इजीली उनको ना तो लेबर मिल पाती थी और ना ही उनको ये क्या कहते हैं प्लोस और बुलोक्स मिल पाते थे। ओके, so till the late 19th century, planters were therefore reluctant to expand the area under need cultivation. Less than 25% of the land producing indigo was under this system. The rest was under an alternative mode of the cultivation. Only at that period of time in the late 19th century, like 1890, 1885, at that period of time, only 25% of land in India was involved in the cultivation of indigo because the peasants of indigo plantation were not getting a proper means to grow the indigo, and the rest of the 75% of land was involved in sugarcane, wheat, rice, cotton, tea, like these kind of crops. Okay, so indigo on the lands of royals. Under the royalty system, the planters forced the royals to sign a contract and agreement satta. At times they pressurized the village headmen to sign the contracts on behalf of the royals. Those who signed the contract got cash advances from the planters at low rate of interest to produce indigo, but the loan committed the roy to cultivating indigo won at least 25% of the area under his holding. The planter provided the seed and the drill, while the cultivators prepared the soil, sowed the seed, and look after the crop. Okay, see, this is the diagram that you can see. It is the indigo plant beta. Okay, it is the picture of indigo plantation. Okay, and at that period of time in the रायती system also, जो विलेज का हेडमैन होता था उसके साथ ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने एक एग्रीमेंट साइन कर लिया कि भाई आपके पास जितनी भी ज़मीन है उस ज़मीन के 25% हिस्से पे, मतलब 1/4 हिस्से पे आप क्या उगाओगे, आप इंडिगो की कल्टीवेशन करोगे और उस इंडिगो कल्टीवेशन को आप हमें बेचोगे। ओके, और इसलिए फिर उन्होंने क्या किया कि उस 25% पे कि जो थे दी प्लांटर्स प्रोवाइडेड द सीड, कि जो प्लांटर्स थे जो इंडिगो की प्लांट की खेती करते थे वो इंडिगो प्लांट का बीज उन्हें बेचते थे। जो कल्टीवेटर्स थे वो ज़मीन को तैयार करते थे और उसमें बीज बोते थे और फिर उस फसल को इंडिगो की फसल का ध्यान भी रखते थे। ओके, एंड सी दीज आर द बुलोक्स एंड प्लोग्स। ओके, जो बेटा प्लोज मीन्स हल और बुलोक्स मीन्स बैल। ओके, सो दीज आर द बुलोक्स एंड प्लोज। ओके, so when the crop was delivered to the planter after the harvest, a new loan was given to the royal and this cycle started all over again. Peasants who were initially tempted by the loan soon realized how harsh the system was. The price they got for the indigo they produced was very low and the cycle of loans were never ended. There were other problems too. The planters usually insisted that indigo be cultivated on the best soils in which peasants prefer to cultivate rice. Indigo, moreover, had deep roots and it exhausted the soil rapidly. After an indigo harvest, the land could not be sown with rice. Okay, so like the cycle of loan and selling the indigo crop was keep on continuing at that in the 19th century and in the 20th century also. Okay, like at that period of time जब उन्होंने रायतों के साथ क्या किया था, एग्रीमेंट बनाया था। एग्रीमेंट बनाने से पहले उनको कुछ एडवांस दे दिया था जस्ट टू विन देयर ट्रस्ट एंड टू टेक देम इनटू कॉन्फिडेंस। ओके, कि भाई उनको लालच दी गई थी। ओके, और फिर जैसे कि उन्होंने वो अपनी इंडिगो की खेती करते थे आफ्टर इंडिगो कल्टीवेशन व्हेन द क्रॉप इज बीइंग राइपन्ड एंड दे सेल इट टू द ब्रिटिश दे वर गिवन लेस अमाउंट ऑफ प्राइस की उनकी जो इंडिगो प्लांटेशन थी वो बहुत ही कम दामों में खरीदी जाती थी और फिर से उनको लोन लेना पड़ता था और इसीलिए फिर यह साइकिल कभी ख़त्म हुआ ही नहीं और वो हमेशा कर्ज में डूबे रहते थे। और इसके साथ साथ कुछ दूसरी भी प्रॉब्लम्स थी, वो ये थी कि जो प्लांटर्स थे वो चाहते थे कि इंडिगो की खेती कहाँ पे की जाए, उस ज़मीन पे की जाए वेयर द राइस कल्टीवेशन इज ग्रोन, बिकॉज वेयर द राइस कल्टीवेशन वाज ग्रोइंग दैट पीरियड दैट amount of land was really very much helpful and fruitful to grow good amount of indigo, but it didn't happen at all because if they grow indigo at that land so they will lose the quality of the soil and the rice could not be cultivated over there. Now we will read about the Blue Rebellion and after. In March 1859, thousands of Ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. As the rebellion spread, Ryots refused to pay rents to the planters and attacked indigo factories armed with swords and spears, bows and arrows. Women turned up to fight with pots, pans and kitchen implements. Those who worked for the planters were socially boycotted and the Gomathas, agents of planters who came to collect rent, were beaten up. Ryots swore they would no longer take advances to sow indigo nor be bullied by the planters. Lethalese, the lathi wielding strongmen maintained by the planters. Okay, now the Blue Rebellion means the Indigo Rebellion. Okay, here blue means indigo because the color of indigo is blue. Okay, so the Blue Rebellion and after और उसके बाद क्या हुआ. In March 1859, thousands of Ryots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. और उस समय पे बेटा हज़ारों किसानों ने इंडिगो उगाने से मना कर दिया था और इतना ज़्यादा विद्रोह फैल गया था कि जो किसान प्लांटर्स के नीचे काम करते थे उनसे लोन लेते थे, लोन लेके इंडिगो की खेती करते थे, उनको समाज से बहिष्कार कर दिया जाता था, उनको समाज से निकाल दिया जाता था, उनके साथ कोई नहीं बातचीत नहीं करता था। और जब कभी कोई अधिकारी उनके गांव में आके उनसे रेवेन्यू या टैक्स कलेक्ट करने आता था तो वो सब अपने भालों के साथ, तलवारों के साथ, चाकू छुरी के साथ और यहाँ तक कि उन घरों की महिलाएं अपने जो उनके किचन के वो होते थे इम्प्लीमेंट्स होते थे लाइक घड़ों के साथ, पोट्स के साथ, पेंस के साथ उनको मारने के लिए लग जाती थी। तो हम सोच सकते हैं कि उनके अंदर कितना गुस्सा रहा होगा और ये गुस्सा सिर्फ इसलिए था बिकॉज दे वर नॉट गिवन फेयर प्राइसेस दैट दे डिजर्व फॉर देयर इंडिगो प्लांटेशन। ओके, नाउ व्हाई डिड द इंडिगो पीजेंट्स decide that they would no longer remain silent? What gave them the power to rebel? Clearly the indigo system was intensely oppressive, but those who were oppressed do not always rise up in rebellion, they do so only at times. As we all know that beta the demand and supplies of indigo plantation were really high in 17, 18 and in the 19th century, and still the peoples and the peasants who were growing the indigo and running the indigo factories were not given fair prices by the British, so that this led into the rebellion process कि भाई उनके अंदर विद्रोह की भावना जगी कि भाई हम इतनी मेहनत करके इतना लोन लेके इंडिगो की फसल करते हैं और फिर भी हमें सही दाम नहीं मिल पाते, और जबकि उस समय पे इंडिगो की कीमत और दाम दोनों की ज़रूरत बहुत ज़्यादा थी। In 1859, the Indigo Ryots felt that they had the support of the local zamindars and village headmen in their rebellion against the planters. In many villages, headmen who had been forced to sign indigo contracts mobilized the indigo peasants and fought peace battles with the Lathials. In other places, even the zamindars went around villages urging the Ryots to resist the planters. These zamindars were unhappy with the increasing power of the planters and angry at being forced by the planters to give them land on the long leases. Okay. The indigo peasants also imagined that the British government would support them in their struggle against the planters after the revolt of 1857, the British government was particularly worried about the possibilities of another popular rebellion when the news spread of a simmering revolt in the Indigo district. So बेटा जो गांव के सरपंच थे या जो हेडमैन थे, जो जमींदार थे, जो अंग्रेजों के लिए काम करते थे और जो अंग्रेजों ने इनके साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन अप कर रखा था इंडिगो फैक्ट्री के लिए, इन्होंने भी अब विद्रोह करना शुरू कर दिया था। ये अपने गांव के किसानों के साथ मिलके उनका बहिष्कार करने लगे थे, उनके साथ लड़ाई झगड़ा, आर्गुमेंट्स, डिबेट इन्होंने स्टार्ट कर दिए थे। जो इंडिगो पीजेंट्स थे उनको ये लगा था कि जो ब्रिटिश अधिकारी हैं वो उनको सपोर्ट करेंगे इस लड़ाई में और अगेंस्ट द प्लांटर्स। आफ्टर द रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857 द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट वाज पर्टिकुलरली वरीड अबाउट द पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ अनदर पॉपुलर रिबिलियन। और 1857 के विद्रोह के बाद जो अंग्रेज सरकार थी वो ये इस संशय में थी कि कभी कोई ऐसा दूसरा विद्रोह न हो जाए, तो उन्होंने इस रेबेलियन को, इस इंडिगो खेती को ख़त्म कर दिया और फिर जहाँ पे बिल्कुल सब कुछ धीरे धीरे वो नॉर्मल करने लग गए और उनको फेयर प्राइसेस भी देने लग गए। ओके, सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट इंडिगो and blue rebellion after, and all other we will discuss in the next video. I hope you have understood the chapter really well. Thank you.